nothing at all is set in stone. So I
Hmm.
am excited, as I said, to see what these players are bringing to the table for today's weekly. And starting things off, we have a round one Sivir versus Annie. And if you guys been paying attention a little bit of the online meta, Annie has been going crazy. The little cards. Have you seen a little bit of Annie so far, Ned?
I have, and I think she's a really interesting deck. You almost want to call her an aggro deck, but she has so much value that goes into the late game that I almost want to call her like a semi mid range deck. But she looks like a lot of fun in set two.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun. The Israel package is still going. The new Israel package allowing her to draw so many cards. We might be seeing a little bit of that. And guys, if you didn't pay attention, we are doing table or not table. I'm so used to calling it tabletop simulator. This is the first ever event we're doing on TCG Arena. You guys were saying, "Hey, Plus, why do you always do tabletop? TCG Arena is free. I would love to join, but I don't have tabletop." Well, the call has been answered, and we're doing the TCGA tournament today. So I worked a little new overlay. Let me know what you guys think. But let's go ahead and tell these players to start. I know we're about 5 minutes over time. So let's go here. All right, they're starting. I'll tell the feature match to start as well. But guys, here we go. The Runes and Rift Weekly Tournament number 7, round 1 is about to get started. Let's go ahead and join these players.
It looks like the Sivir got the play. Going down with the old familiar Traveling Merchant.
That's right. And we saw Sivir do some really cool things last weekly. I believe it was Terra on Sivir, and he was doing a little bit more aggressive. I figured Sivir is more likely better position as a mid-range type legend. So we'll see what kind of Sivir Newrof is bringing to the table today, because we saw like a sneaky deckhand early on. Is there something like that available for Newrof here?
They're in the right colors, but we'll see. Starting off with that Traveling Merchant into the famous stack deck. Seeing what they're going to get from that. And of course, the Annie just starting out with an Overzealous Fan. Interesting include for a Annie type deck, but see where that brings us.
Yeah, you're right. It is an
For
interesting include because usually we don't see as usually. I mean, the typical Annie two drops are like Traveling Merchant, Pouty Poro, and I think I'm forgetting one. Do you remember there was one more in there? I should know because I
uh,
played Annie at Houston.
does not ring a bell for a 2-drop creature at least.
Yeah, we'll see if
But
they end up playing it either way. But how do you feel about Treasure Hunter and Annie?
Treasure Hunter and Annie? Um, it's interesting. I don't know if that is going to be the meta going forward with it, but usually Annie decks don't have a high power cost with things, so I'm not sure the gold is best served with Annie. Uh, but as the meta develops, we can see where that leads us.
Yeah, we'll see. And it looks like both players 1 point apiece. The Fan pushing forward onto the Zone Warren, so conquering the left-hand side. The Merchant earlier turn going into the right Zone Warrens. This Kaiser gets played down with the additional accelerated cost, going into the Zone Warren, trying to take care of the Traveling Merchant, but the infamous Punch First coming down, punishing the full tap out coming out from the Annie player. Punch First is an incredibly strong card. How do you feel about this, Ned? Because a lot of people love it
It
when
is
yeah, go ahead.
wild that is a common.
Right.
Like, and I think Sivir's the best deck for this. Being able to get a gold token every time you play it, effectively making it only a 1 energy cost or a 1 power cost is very nice for that deck. I see some people saying Punch First may be the best card in the new set. I definitely think it's top 5.
I think so. Punch First
for
is
sure.
so strong. I mean, it's so deceiving because it's just a one cost card, right? As you mentioned, it's a common card. He thought the Kaiser was a free conquer onto the right hands on Warrens, but man, oh man, the Punch First bringing that little old traveling merchant up to 7 might. Now passing the turn back to Sivir, it did come at a decently hefty cost. The gold token on Sivir's board was exhausted because of it was just played out, so he had to recycle 2 full body runes, so that it put him effectively a whole turn behind. So let's see how they're able to maneuver going forward with just 4 runes to their name. But I think it was well worth now that they're at 2 points so far, potentially even 3 if they're able to push this treasure hunter with a little bit of, oh, okay. And that's a different card. Are we able to see the Discord with TCGA? Let's check.
We
Oh,
are
we
indeed.
are. Okay.
So that card is when you conquer a hold, you can play a unit from your trash, but you still have to pay its cost. It is very nice for decks that focus on graveyards, like purple decks tend to do.
Yeah.
We'll see if this card makes a play in in this game. Just looking over it real quick.
Yeah, and a card that is known to make really great plays is this Israel Prodigy, right? When you discard 1 when you play me, and then you draw 2. I mean, drawing 2 in any TCG is such a powerful ability, especially when you pair things up with Scrap Heat. It looked like he didn't have a Scrap Heat here. He ended up discarding a rather new card we might see come down the road, because I haven't seen that card yet, but we'll see when it comes into play later on. The treasure hunter just moves forward to get 1 more treasure token online, or for the next turn online, and we'll see. I mean, you know for a fact there is no Punch First because there is no longer any body runes to Sivir's name. So at least you're safe. If you have something like another accelerated Kaiser play, you should be pretty certain that it's probably going to get the conquer there.
Yes, indeed. You still have to watch that 1 rune because there's a lot of movement effects with purple, but you should at least be able to get the conquer. But Darius coming down. Does he have a second spell to make him ready?
I would imagine so. What would it be? Something like a gust, perhaps? Bounce back the treasure hunter, allow him, force him to play it again. Don't give him the value of the move on the next turn. Could be nice, but he didn't, Ned. Just the Darius coming down, allowing the Sivir to go up to 3 points, and now the Israel traveling merchant in the back. Did Annie ready the 2 runes? I didn't actually see that there.
Yes, because they were on 1.
Of
they
course.
ready the 2 purple.
Okay, that makes sense because Darius is indeed the 5 cost. So, I mean, effectively, he has enough might to get over the fan, but the fan's ability, for those that are newer to Spiritforge, when defending, you can kill. Oh, and he's going to be able to see the sabotage. Let's see what's behind those doors. It's a Void Seeker, another fan, a Scrap Heat, a Sneaky, and then a Rebuke. Okay, that's a pretty healthy hand.
And that gold token coming in clutch here, as the Sivir player did not have any orange runes to recycle, but had that gold.
Yeah, very true. Allowing him to keep that rune economy nice and healthy going forward. And I believe he chose the Void Seeker just in case he wants to push in with this Israel, which he's doing right now. You can't Void Seeker it. So perfect pick off the hand, allowing this conquer to be a whole lot easier because you know he's not able to defend it. The only way he's going to be able to do it is with the Overzealous Fan ability if you kill it. But then that little traveling merchant will be coming in to kind of finish off that conquer. The Israel tried to start here, but he's thinking, I already forgot what's in hand. I mean, guys, the thing about TCGA, we can technically hover over the cards and see, but I don't have a stream delay, so I don't want to give anything away if these guys are watching the stream. Since he just sabotaged, I'll show you guys what I mean. If we hover over, it's the fan, Scrap Heat, Sneaky Deckhand, and Rebuke. But we'll try to steer clear from that in case these guys are watching the stream. In the future, though, I was telling Ned on the break, we'll probably do a stream delay so that we can show you guys the hand a little bit easier.
And yes, as you said, the Overzealous Fan was sacrificed to move Ezreal back to their home base, and Traveling Merchant moving in to secure that conquer.
That's right. So up to 4 points, just four more points remaining. The treasure hunter gets pulled back, develops another gold token for the following turn. Let's see what else he has left with the 5 runes available. He goes with one and Raza. Okay, we don't get to see this too often. This is definitely not the aggressive Sivir we saw in the last weekly tournament. This is definitely more of a mid-range discard type deck with
Hmm.
Raza. I cost one less for each card in your trash. As we see on the screen there's 9 in the trash, so he simply costs 1 energy and 1 chaos power. So man, a mighty card. It looks like it would cost so much, but because you get that the value from decreasing his energy for every card, he effectively came down as a 1 cost for 6 might. That is efficient.
Hmm. And they ended their turn with playing the purple silver, going over to Annie, starting with the sneaky deckhand, getting that open field conquer.
That's
Which
right.
is surprising that this late into a game, a sneaky deckhand was actually able to use its ability.
Yeah, and on top of that, he had the scrap heat to ditch it and then pick up 2 more cards. So let's see what else he picked up. The Darius is already ready, so is able to come into the traveling merchant. He should be able to conquer. Sivir's all the way tapped out, so just 5. I like this play because then you play a second card, you ready the Darius, and you retreat it to keep him nice and safe for the following turn. Let's see if he decides to do that, because I don't think Annie's too good at defending battlefields. Unless set 2 changed a whole lot of things, I think this Darius might be pulled back here, anticipating that Raza and the Sivir champion, mind you, will most likely be coming in to contest that Zon Warrens on the left.
You also have to think we're at 4 victory points right now. If the Sivir conquers both battlefields on their turn, they're at 6, which starts to get into the range of, okay, now I need to stop them from scoring. But as you said, this looks to be more of a mid-rangey Sivir deck, so they could be getting set up right now.
Yeah, and set up they are. They have a full, well-developed back line in that base. They have the Sivir champion, the Raza. They have the treasure hunter to keep getting those resources generation. And then the Israel just just getting value. If you have any optional additional cost, you decrease them by 1 energy or 1 power. So this Sivir could have came in accelerated for just a simple energy, but decided to forego because he didn't have that energy that turn. But doesn't recall the Darius trying with the hold the Zone Warren's game plan. I don't know how I feel about this. How do you feel about it, Ned?
Well, they have 4 runes open now, so maybe they're going to try and double spell
Okay.
this on the opponent's turn, because it's on either person's turn. So maybe they're trying to double spell, get that up to 7. With the overzealous fan having 2 and can remove a unit back to its base. I mean, it's going to be a tricky hold, but it's not impossible.
That's right. And it looked like it was a sabotage coming in. You guys can see it. Is it this or this button? There it is. The sabotage getting played out. But did he play the sabotage first and then? Oh, the hard bargain coming out from the Annie. One of the best cards and newest additions to set 2 Annie. You could even pay a repeat cost to force your opponent in this position. They don't even have 4 available runes, so it would be a hard counter. It comes at a bit of a cost because you use all your energy to repeat that hard bargain, but it would counter the sabotage. I don't think it's worth it, but he's just throwing it out there. Hard bargain on the sabotage. He doesn't want to take away what he currently has in hand, which makes me wonder, Ned, what is in that hand that's a little bit more valuable that he doesn't want him to see?
Uh, there's a lot of things for 2 mana in a Annie deck that could be worth it. It's now just, I think, using the hard bargain to make sure that a mid-rangey deck could, I don't know, maybe they could play a stacked deck still, but I think that's about it. And a punch first, for one. I think it's the only options I would really see Sivir having for only having 1 rune left up. I think this is a very good play, but now is it going to follow up with anything?
Yeah, let's see. Because, I mean, he has a full set of cards to push in onto both of these battlefields. I would imagine Sivir is going to be going up to at least 5, most likely 6 on this turn. We didn't get to see, but he ended up playing Fizz, and that's actually how he ended up playing the Sabotage. He played Fizz. When you play me, you play a spell from your trash with no energy cost, but you do still have to pay the power, which is what we saw him use the gold token for, I believe. And the flash comes out, so saving just the Darius and the sneaky deckhand, but he does have to pay 2 more for that.
Yep, and Rebuke going to the graveyard and showing that they still have a Vi Destructive in hand. And Ezreal coming in to combat the Overzealous Fan, which I imagine is just going to get set back to base, and now they have open board to just take the 2. I think the 2 runes that are untapped on Annie should be tapped after playing Flash.
You're 100% right, because he did it hard, but he had 4 energy to start the turn, and then he played 1 hard bargain and then 1 flash, so that should be tapped. I don't think it's going to be coming into play too much. And yes, Milky, I'll let these players know the sabotage target should be recycled rather than the discard, because in any decks it does make a difference. We know that infamous Vi Ride the Wind combo, or even Vi alone, gets so much value from having cards in the discard. So we'll keep an eye, guys. There's effectively 2 cards taken away from that discard, so we'll see if it makes a difference. There's only 8 cards rather than 10 cards in the discard, so if Vi comes into play a little bit later on, we'll make sure these players know. Right now, I don't think it's going to be making too much of a difference, but Sivir trying to develop these battlefields, trying to create a bit of a hold of her own. Has Raza on the right, Sivir and Treasure Hunter on the left, and he has 1 gold available. So something like we saw early game, or he had 1 gold available. Ooh. And that is a double Raza, Ned. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Sivir player.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this Annie could have drawn into that's going to get them out of this hole. So they're going to have to take at least one of these. I doubt it's going to be the Raza one.
Yeah, and he did end up playing a hidden card in it. We haven't seen too many hidden from Sivir before. I would imagine it's something simple like a fight or flight. Or do you know any other hidden cards that Body Chaos might be running these days?
Body Chaos in this kind of deck? No, I really don't.
Perhaps something like a good old switcheroo. We've been seeing Chaos really utilize that card very, very well.
I would be a little surprised if this deck was running switcheroo. I think it's a really fun card, but I think you're going to have the higher strength in most decks, or higher might in most decks.
All right,
we'll see what the plays are.
We see the Annie, but we have to be very careful because the Void Seeker is recycled. If one of the targets is Void Seeker or Rebuke, I'm gonna start typing these guys in chat. I'll take a look, and it was a cleave. So I think they realized, guys. I don't think they. Oh, they did recycle. They're talking about it now because look, the discard went from 10 to 8. So they did recycle those cards that we were mentioning before. So everything's clean now.
Mm-hmm. Cleaving the going in and then cleaving the Darius so that it's untapped, giving it a total of 10 might there. Going up to 5 and getting rid of a sneaky deckhand off his on Warrens.
That's right. So Darius is ready since he played it on the combat turn. So he readies during combat, allowing him to pull that back if he chooses to do so. He is at 10 current might, or at 7 current might. But if he goes for something like a Ride the Wind over to the Raza battlefield, he will be at 10. But man, Raza being 6 might unit, that's 12 total might on that battlefield. Not even the Darius with the cleave combo gets over that. If you send in the sneaky, but no, he's going to be trying to hold hold the left-hand side, not allowing him to try to conquer this final 8th point. He's saying, you know what, this right Zom Warrens, that's all yours. Get your 7th point, but I'm gonna be damned if I let you take this final 8th point with the Fizz and the Israel on the back line. Can he hold it down? Because these players are running out of cards. Sivir with 2 cards, and now Annie with no cards available, which is a rare sight to see. Annie's usually good at keeping her hand economy pretty well.
Yep, Annie going full shields down, saying, here's the wall I've built. See if you can knock it down. And revealing that fight or flight was the hidden card.
I like that play. You send the
Sending
Raza
Fizz.
back readied.
Yep, sending Fizz, Ezreal, and the Rasha to see. I believe that's just more on at 6, 9,
12.
12.
Mhm.
Yep, that does it.
That does it. GG indeed. The Sivir player Newrof taking it down for that very first game 1 of our round 1.
Sivir to kind of make them also either commit or go shields down. I think both players played really well.
And look at this battlefield coming out from Annie. The newest addition to Riftbound, or rather the Spiritforged set, is Minefield. When you conquer, put the top 2 cards of your main deck in your trash, and that's every player who conquers this. So Sivir, actually wait, no, that's Sivir's battlefield, which makes sense because of the synergy with Raza. And then Arena's greatest for Annie. She's like, you know what? Let me just guarantee get this game 1 because Annie can go real fast. Can Sivir slow it down enough for Annie to not get to that final 8th point? Or is Annie just going to be zooming along? We will see.
No turn 1 play by the Annie, though. Shipping it back over to Sivir, who's going to start us off with that Treasure Hunter.
Yeah, that always feels bad when you're on. It seems to always happen when you're on Arena's greatest, when you need to have that aggressive start. You just never seem to find that 2-drop when you need it most. It always ends up working that way. But let's see if he at the least has something like a sneaky deckhand.
Sabotage coming out, revealing Annie's hand, and that is a rough hand if you're trying to go fast.
Yeah.
Rebuke, Ride the Wind, 2 hard bargains, and a Darius. I'm a little surprised we didn't see Annie trying to hard bargain this Sabotage. But they just must not have cared about them seeing the hand or what they had in their hand.
Yeah, it looked like he already didn't have the best of hands, deciding to go with the Ride the Wind, letting the 2 hard bargains stay in there. 1 Darius and then 1 Rebuke were the other options. I like the Rebuke, but he's like, if you want to use Rebuke this early on, you're going to set yourself really far back. So I'll leave that in the hand. I'll try to play around it a little bit later on. But did Annie top deck at least something that's being able to be played? And no, this is not a position you want to be in. Hard forcing to do your champion when there's nothing in the discard. That is a feels bad position for this Annie player.
That feels awful playing.
We're getting a stack deck.
Now I'm getting worried for the Annie. Seeing what has transpired. A stack deck, clearing up the draws for Sivir.
Yeah, let's see what they end up picking up. It looks like at the very least they're going to be able to get a conquer, most likely on that Minefield, to put some cards in that discard to get out that Raza we saw make such an impact in game 1 that much earlier. You're not able to get it anytime soon, but at least 1 to 2 more turns you should be able to get him. So Treasure Hunter does indeed push into that Minefield. So 32 cards currently in the deck, going to be going down to 30 after he recycles 2. I don't believe Minefield will work with something like Nocturne, would it, Ned? Do you know?
When you conquer here, put the top 2. Nocturne is when you would see me. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, yeah. I didn't think it will. I think it's not specifically when you see it with a vision card, but would be kind of a neat tech for this purple deck to have.
Yeah, and speaking of purple deck, Sivir doing wonderful things. The token generation for these gold or for Sivir has been phenomenal. Get a token from the Treasure Hunter Conqueror. You play Israel, spend a Chaos rune, and because of Sivir's ability, when you recycle a rune, you exhaust me to play another gold token. So 3 total golds. That's so much power. That's so much power able to be used. You're no longer going to be worried about spending any recycle runes. And speaking of that, Card Shot coming out, utilizing one of those gold tokens right here, right now. Seeing the top 2 cards are able to play it, but just making full use and optimizing their runes, or rather these tokens, I should say, on your opponent's turn rather than your own turn.
Yes, indeed. And something I'm noticing about this Annie deck, we've seen Void Seeker, but not a lot of other direct damage spells. I'm almost wondering if this is more of a unit focus and movement focused Annie build.
Mm-hmm. Traditionally, that has been the more oftentimes seen Annie build. I have noticed Annies are leaning a little bit more towards Falling Stars, because Falling Star used to be good at Annie, then it got replaced by Rebuke after Houston. But I think the comeback to Falling Star doesn't seem that bad because of this card here on the screen. Israel Prodigy is just a lonely 3-might unit, and he oftentimes tends to just stick in that back base line, right? So a Falling Star could go ahead and take those out. I mean, in this position, you don't even have the red runes to do it. And to make matters worse, Sabotage number 2 coming out. This is devastating for Annie.
Oh, yeah, there was a minefield trigger. But Sabotage coming in, revealing the hand, and yeah, this Annie still not in a greatest of spots.
Yeah, you could say that again. He had the option at hard bargain, but that wouldn't accomplish too much. He has 2 of them anyways. You might as well. He doesn't really care if those are the options from the Sivir player. If I'm Sivir, I'm kind of eyeing now that Fight or Flight or the Rebuke, since we're kind of getting into that later game or the mid to late game. Rebuke does come into play. There's plenty of Chaos runes for the Annie player to make full use of it, are able to play it at the minimum. But I think Fight or Flight might just be the best target to take out and remove it from the Annie player's hand.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only spell I'm seeing here. Well, I mean, the Rebuke also, but the Fight or Flight will slow down the Sivir's deck, and if they choose to Rebuke it instead, that's going to cost them 2 purple runes that I'm not sure they want to.
Oh, and look, speak of the Devil Ned, he is playing Falling Star, most likely a sideboard piece, but he didn't end up drawing it. The Minefield. Sivir's Battlefield working against Annie. He wishes, I mean, in this position, the Sabotage would have most likely taken out the Falling Star, but if they had the Falling Star in the previous turn, that could have been impactful, and it looks like we were both wrong. He decides to go with the stacked deck as his decision for the Sabotage, and that is recycled. Am I able to type in chat? I think I am. I'll just type in here recycled. Actually, that's pretty neat.
When you're as ahead as you are at Sivir and you're feeling good about your position, taking away somebody's ability to make their deck more consistent is a really strong move.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And a card we didn't see game 1, Confront, coming down from the Sivir player just to draw 1 most likely, because with 2 runes remaining, I don't think it'll be playing out a unit unless, of course, it is just a 2-cost unit like a Treasure Hunter. That would be a pretty good move, actually, thinking about it more.
Treasure Hunter or Traveling Merchant, if that's in hand. Yeah, a couple good options.
Oh, it is.
Or a Rasha, that works too.
Right. You forget there was 9 cards in the discard already. It enters ready, pushes forward up to 3 points. The Sivir goes, has to discard 2 more from the deck, so 11. All these Rashas are coming out for free. I say free, quote unquote, but you do have to pay at least one power. But in Sivir's position, you just have to sacrifice one of your gold tokens to get it out. You do have to draw more, of course, but you're filtering through your deck at this point. Is there any risk of the Sivir player running out of cards in deck? Or I don't think we might get to that position, right?
There's always the possibility. It's really just going to depend on if this Annie can stabilize and take some control back. I would be very surprised if it happened, but it is not impossible.
Yeah, let's see what he decides to do. Has the Darius, and we know Darius is able to get up to 7, but man, when I see a orange player, a body legend, and they have a single rune available plus a gold available, I am nervous. We saw it in game 1. We've seen it in many games before. Punch First is such an impactful card. And on Araza, that would be bringing it up to 11 total might. So he's playing it safe. He's saying, you know what, Darius, I'm going to go over here, maybe ready it, retreat it, or I might just try to defend like I had done before. I have the Rebuke in hand. And, ooh, we haven't seen this card before, right?
The Rengar right to base, giving it a reaction of being able to be played when you're attacking to the battlefield you're attacking, and with the Assault 2? Yes, Assault 2, giving you just an extra 5 power to whatever you're attacking.
Yeah, so it doesn't get full use of it. He could have maybe done some cheeky play like send the Darius, got the Rengar in that combat turn. If he had something like a cleave, I would feel more comfortable, because with the Darius going up to 10 and the Rengar going up to 13 total might pushing in, you would know you're getting over the Punch First, but it looks like those cards aren't, one of those cards aren't going to be cleaved, or else I think he would have rather decided to push up against that Raza.
Yeah, you have to imagine any 2-drop. Yeah, 2-drop he would have had would have been the play. Oh, and here comes down Last Rites being attached to Ezreal.
Yeah, when I conquer a
How
hold,
does this read?
yeah, you may
Yep.
pay a unit, you may play a unit from your trash. So I see the synergy coming out from Sivir, putting a lot of cards in the trash and then having cards like this Last Right to bring them back. And you still pay its cost, but you're able to pretty much have 10 cards in your hand effectively, because you're digging through that discard. And speak of that Rebuke we just mentioned, bouncing the Israel back, putting the Last Right, you could still attach the Last Right to the Rasha just so he is able to have a little bit more might for the following push-up from Annie. Or no, I don't think he's going to be able to accelerate anything with just 2 runes currently.
Right, and but they are going to attach it still. I was a little surprised back, because I figured they wouldn't want to recycle a rune just to give Raza an extra 2, but 8 is significantly harder to deal with than 6.
It is. I mean, if he's able to retreat the Darius, play a second or play 2 cards, I mean, he doesn't have that many runes. The Rebuke setting him a whole turn back. 3 cards. He could retreat the Darius and play 2 of those 3 cards to ready it, go up to 7 and push in with a total of 10 might with the Rengar. But now, we were scared before when there was just 1 total energy or 1 total rune to Sivir on the previous turn. Now there's 2 plus that 1 gold. If he was scared of the Punch First before, he's definitely worried about the Punch First this time around. And now it's going to be going all the way up to what, 13 total might defending that minefield. This is looking a little tough for Annie. I think that early game, not starting off with a 2-drop, not starting off with any units, I should say, was very, very disastrous as we're seeing it now.
And you spoke it into existence. Here's the Punch First, bumping up Rasha against a Rengar and an accelerated Kaisa.
Yeah, and that's going to be way more than enough. So Rasha is going to be able to hold here, going up to 5 total points. Newrof and his Sivir build looking very primed to take this one away. I mean, it's kind of neck and neck, but in terms of control, in terms of playing out units that really make an impact, it looks like Sivir has that on in the bag. Another one getting played onto Minefield. So that one is going to be very tricky to take over, especially consider the fact that Annie, just like we saw in game 1, doesn't have too many cards. This is a little bit curious because we're used to seeing Annie, especially set to Annie, have so much card advantage with those scrap heats, with those Israels. We just haven't really seen that in this round 1.
And that second Rasha being played because the first one held the battlefield with last rights, so it's being able to be played from its trash nearly for free. And now Rasha conquering again. So if they had something in their discard they want or unit, they could have played it, but
And it looks like Annie had no units available to do anything about this double Raja hold on both battlefields. That's going to be a GG. Sivir taking round number 1.